Hello, Vibers, and welcome to the extended version of the 3 signs it's time to change your path video over on my Sean Vibes YouTube channel. Now, we're going to begin each reading by getting messages from Athena Noctua's Unfolding Path Tarot to let us know what your right path is. Then we're going to find out how you can align with that path by getting guidance from 3 different oracle decks. The first deck, which is representing pile 1 right now in your selection process, is the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle. And it's going to represent your guidance from heaven. You also see there is an amethyst on top of it. I don't want to touch it because that amethyst is very rolly. So if I pick it up, there's no way I'm going to get it to sit back in the center of this deck again. In fact, you might see that there's like a second little amethyst holding it in place. But I'll try to remember to zoom into these cards so you can see them more closely, okay? Actually, no, you know what we'll do? I will go ahead and pick it up. So this is your amethyst. It's my crystal ball. Y'all know I love that crystal ball. And then if I put it on the, look at that, sits completely still. Okay, and then for group 2, you guys right now are being represented by the Moonology Oracle and the Carnelian. It's a heart-shaped carnelian. Okay, and we'll put that right there. And then finally, group 3, you guys are being represented right now by the Higher Self Oracle and this massive rose quartz. I can't even turn it. It's so big. You know, I do have 2 hands. I could have done that, right? Anyway, the massive rose quartz. And as I said, you'll get all 4 decks in your readings, but these are just the representation of your piles for right now. So take a second, take a look, see which of these piles is calling to you today, and I will see you in your reading. Hello, group 1, and welcome to your reading. We're going to begin with a tarot pull, and then we are going to use oracle cards for guidance. So in the tarot pull, we're going to take a look at, we're going to find out rather, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. These 4 things are the Japanese concept of ikigai, and it's the best way of determining, I feel like it's the best way, I should say. It's one of many ways of determining your correct path where you can have the most fulfillment as well as bring fulfillment to others. So looking at what you love, the first card that we got is the Page of Cups. Actually, let me put that there so we can make sure we have space for everybody. And then let's find out what you're good at. We have the Queen of Pentacles. That is quite auspicious. Now looking at what the world needs. I love it. I love it. Y'all, the world needs the tower. I just can't. I just can't. Like my heart actually jumped when I saw that. And not in that way like when you're getting a personal reading and the tower card comes up, your heart might like jump into your throat or drop down into your gut because you're afraid of, oh shit, what's going to happen now? But no, this is, I mean, you know, and especially with us, like, I think we are now currently in the age of Aquarius, like officially, or if not, we are getting closer to the age of Aquarius starting, which means coming out of the Piscean age, which from my limited knowledge of those things is why we're seeing a lot of the changes happen in society, particularly Western societies that we have over the past few years, shifting from that matriarchy to, I'm sorry, from that patriarchy to, you know, more, shall we say, divinely related energies. Okay, and then the final card that we're going to pull is what you can be paid for. Interesting. All right, we have the Fool here, and we have her in reverse, which for me completely tracks, particularly with this and this. Maybe here too, but we'll find out. Okay, so In terms of what you love being inspired by what you do. You love inspiring others in what they do. You love feeling a connection between the heart and experiences. You have an openness to everything that comes along. You see the beauty in life because of looking at it almost through the eyes of a child. But not quite the eyes of a child, because it's not coming from a place of naivety. It's coming from a place of eternal hope. You may consider yourself an idealist, or if you don't consider yourself that, others have called you an idealist. You're one of those people that like seeing the best in others. You may actually give other people the benefit of the doubt too often, but not really too often, because if that's who you are, that's who you are. You often wear your heart on your sleeve, have your heart in your hands. You want what's best for others as well as what's best for yourself, and you feel deep inside as though it is possible for both to coexist. You don't feel a need to have there be fights and agendas in order to work out. Let me say it better. You don't feel a need for there to be fights and conflict in order to work out differences of agenda. Your default is to look for and to seek to attain compromise, but not compromise from the place of I can't get what I need so someone else does, or they can't get what they need so that I can, but rather compromise that can be mutually fulfilling. Hope is the biggest word that I have. You love hope. Things that instill hope, things that make you feel hope, hope for others. You may be somebody who is constantly encouraging others with your words because you look at them and you see what's possible and you want what's best for them and you want what's best for yourself. You're almost interminable in your hope. You probably have a tendency to always expect things to work out, always hope for the best. Do you still make wishes on birthday candles or at fountains? Your heart, I feel your heart. I feel a warm hug, actually, as you're listening to this. I feel hugged by you. You're like, yes, you see me, and you're like hugging me energetically, and I can feel your hug. Okay, what you are good at, you are good at taking care of yourself and others. And this includes an ability to make money. Now, this can be, and to make good money, not just money, but good money. This can be because of specific studies or skills that you have acquired that made you marketable for jobs or highly desirable in a job market. Or it could just be a natural tendency. You may be someone who always thought of businesses that you could have when you were a child. I used to read Entrepreneur magazine when I was a teenager, and I even got their big book. They had this big red book. I can't remember what it's called, but it was like this thick, and if not thicker. No, it was like this thick. No, I don't know. You guys, I can't remember. I just remember it was very thick, especially for my teen self. And it was like called the Entrepreneurship Bible or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But you may have been someone like that, whether you actually sought out periodicals or books around having a business. You might have just thought of different businesses that you might want to have as an adult, or you had little businesses that you created in your youth. Maybe you were the kid that had the lemonade stand, or you excelled at selling gift wrapping paper during during the that season at school. Girl Scout cookies, anything like that. Possibly making money in high school or in college by typing term papers for other people. You might also have an interest in investing. And so even if you don't identify as someone who earns a lot of money, you may just be very good with the money that you do earn. You may be in a profession that does not pay a lot, but you're very good with what you get. Or you might be the opposite, where you're somebody who gets paid a lot, but maybe you don't feel as though you're very good with money because you overspend it because you do like luxury. Whether you're somebody who spends in accordance with what you make or you spend more than what you make, you definitely love to feel comfortable. You love to make others you love feel comfortable. You don't mind spending for high quality. This could be high quality medical care. It could be high quality education. It could even be high quality, what do you call it? Discretionary spending, like the nicer car or silk sheets for your bed. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. I think that was an 80s thing, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you like having nice things. In terms of what the world needs change. We already talked about that a little bit, and the world is going through change. And so there's a really good timing between between your coming to this message now and what is happening in the world. It's like this is your time, and this card is confirming that. The world is ready to be turned upside down. It's ready to go from this place of, the world has been for the longest time in survival mode. And this has gotten us further and further away from dreaming, from hoping, from idealism, from expecting the best of others, wanting the best for others, loving others as much as ourselves or ourselves as much as others. We have, as a world, for a long time now, been unbalanced in these regards because there's been this mindset of you versus me, and it is time for that to change. And you've got the right energy and the right abilities to help with that kind of change. People feeling as though they have to work for others, or that they're enslaved to their job, or the structure that society has been for so long. There's a lot of change happening, but some people aren't participating in it yet because they are so entrenched in old belief systems that have carried us for so long. One of the reasons why I do my YouTube channel the way I do is because I want to encourage and empower people who have skills that they're not able to use in the work that's bringing them money right now, to find a way to monetize those skills so they can feel fulfillment in the work that they do and get paid for it. And then with this Fool in reverse, this is our question of what you can be paid for. And that is teaching. That is growing people up. That is taking them from being in the way we typically think of the Fool card, that novice, that completely carefree, unknowing, again, naive. Funny that we have this Page of Cups and this Fool card on opposite sides of the table. That's just how I chose to lay it out. But because this is a spread I actually created based on the concept of Ikigai. These 4 things that we're talking about are that Japanese concept of Ikigai. And then I created this tarot spread from that. But yes, what you can be paid for is growing people up. A better way to say that, a more normal way to say that, is teaching people. You can teach them how to connect with their idealism. You can teach them how to reconnect with their inner child. You can teach them how to shift their mindset. You may identify as someone who would love to be a manifestation coach, or any kind of coach for that matter. Maybe even a personal finance coach, if that is something that you feel qualified in and can get accredited for. But something that helps people change their mindset is definitely what is the correct path for you, the right path for you. Some sort of coaching or teaching or training, business or position. I'm getting more a sense of business in terms of you owning it yourself, and that's because of this Queen of Pentacles here. as opposed to, because that Queen of Pentacles indicates to me the business owner, feels like to me the business owner. But you could find just as much fulfillment in it if you were hired by some institution or a different person who owns, like, say they have a company and they hire coaches within that company. You don't have to take on, I'm not seeing anything here that says you have to be the owner of the coaching or teaching business, but you will excel in coaching or teaching people to shift the way they think about their lives in whatever topic you choose. So as you may have noticed in my YouTube channel, I have recently chosen to focus on creativity, career, and calling. I feel like those are connected, and they're in, and the channel does tend to be more heavy in career content than it is in calling or creativity, just because we all have careers but we're not all creative people, so I want to make sure I put stuff out there that everybody can benefit from. Okay, so now we're going to get your guidance from heaven. See what goddess comes through for you today. We have Baba Yaga, patience. Okay, so what this is saying to me right away is definitely be patient with yourself. Because of this idealistic nature of yours, you may not see yourself as someone who is in charge, but remember, we've got this Queen of Pentacles energy also. So you definitely have the ability of being someone who is in charge, and you need to be patient with yourself as you begin to, or the guidance here, I should say, the guidance here is to be patient with yourself as you begin to shift that identity. Or even if you don't have that struggle, being patient with yourself as you determine how to start working in this capacity, defining for yourself what it means for you. Do you want to own the coaching business? You can do it as a one-person shop, or you could own it where you have a bunch of coaches that work for you. Or do you want to work with someone else who already has that set up? Or do you want to work for an actual institution? So be patient with yourself as you start to discover, define, and take action towards this path. I am getting that for the majority of you who chose this group, you're not already on the path. And I am getting a hit of some of you haven't felt qualified for telling others. And maybe that's because of having such a big heart, feeling as though you shouldn't tell others how to be. If you can think of it in terms of, you're not telling them how to be or telling them what to do, but you're helping them unlock what is already inside of them, helping them with their perspective on how they will come to you with a want that they have, a need that they have, but not know how to get there. And you can help them with the mindset shifts to get them there. Okay, so patience with yourself for sure. And then also, as you begin to teach, remembering that it is important to have patience, because people learn at different levels. So each of your clients or each of your students is going to be very different. And sometimes things that seem so obvious to you may not be as obvious to them, particularly if you are working with someone who does not have that same gift of idealism that you have. Someone who might be very much, functioning from the analytical mind or the critical thinking or judgmental mind at all. Okay, now we're going to find opportunities or challenges presented by the earth. And for that, we have luck is on your side. Timing, we were just talking about that. The timing of what's happening in the earth. This is the time for you. So you discovering this about yourself, how you could excel in this way, discovering that now at this time, particularly as people are starting to be weeded out. Because during the pandemic, we saw so many people thinking that they wanted to be business owners and they left their jobs and they're like, I'm not going back to work for somebody else. And they found out it is harder to own a business than you would think. That shit is hard, y'all. Especially since it doesn't come with a guaranteed weekly paycheck or weekly or biweekly or monthly paycheck that's always the same amount or close to. And all of the responsibility of everything does sit on your shoulders. So a lot of people have dropped off from this, having their own business thing. Even actual companies are starting to fall off. What was known as the B2C company or the D2C company, direct to consumer company, a lot of those are just falling off. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here explaining what direct-to-consumer is, but look up if you want to find out more about that and how those businesses are starting to go under. And so this is creating space in the marketplace for new small businesses to come up. Go to YouTube, type in CNBC D2C documentary or direct to consumer documentary. It is a short documentary, like 12 minutes or something like that. But the timing right now is very good for you. Luck is on your side in that way because timing is everything. A lot of times we will have an idea, we will be skilled at something, and we'll jump in and expect for it to work. And we're not aware of outside circumstances that might make it a less than ideal time. But the time right now for you is very good. Luck is on your side in that way. As well as coming upon this reading at this time is on your side in that way. And then it says here, new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is known for teaching as well as learning, but mostly teaching. So this is more confirmation of how you would be great in the teaching space, whether as a coach or an instructor or a teacher somewhere. Okay, and then finally, I got caught up looking at this card, trying to see if it had any more for me to give to you. Something around new moon seems to be, again, that's the inception time. Like in a moon cycle, new moon is the time where we start the new thing. We make the wish, we set the intention, we do the spell. So we can read this in two ways. One being that, yes, this is the time to start. Or if it rings more true for you, okay, at the next new moon, begin to take action. At the next new moon, write your spell, set the intention. Maybe, again, do some of this defining ahead of time that we talked about with Baba Yaga here in the patience card. Do some of the defining beforehand if you want to wait until the new moon to actually start, so that your manifestation of this new path for yourself might be in line with the moon cycle. And so looking at my calendar, it looks like the new moon is actually, coming up. Well, it depends on, you know what? I'm not going to say when it is, because I just thought about the fact that different people might find this at different times. And so I don't want to put a time out there or a date out there, and then someone is like in a completely different month or even a completely different year. But check your calendar for the next new moon to see if you would like to wait until then to start. I feel like this could go either way for you, because this is very much aligned, which is the entire point of this reading today, right? Okay, and then finally, I was just shuffling the wrong deck for a second. Now we are going to get messages from your inner self around you and this path. Perspective, yep. Perspective, yeah. So again, we talked already about you helping people change their mindset. Mindset and perspective are the same thing. So again, more confirmation of what we already got from the tarot. But also what I'm getting is to tell you to remember to continue to work on your own perspective, to keep it fluid, to change as change seems to be required, because circumstances don't get stuck, are not set in stone. Energies shift all the time. Needs and requirements of ourselves, of our clients or customers, of the world at large are constantly in flux. So remember to spend time with yourself. Take the time for meditating. Here on this card, you can see it says subconscious. The yellow figure is subconscious, the blue figure is conscious, and the white figure is higher self. So if you love meditating, that's a great way to stay connected and connected to oneness, connected to the collective consciousness, as well as connected to yourself, and help you stay on track as you do this path and things in and around you change. And if meditation is uncomfortable for you, if just sitting still in this lotus position type of meditation that they're showing here, I have the abundance meditation, and I have more meditations that I will be releasing for you guys over time. But it's more upbeat, and it's still focusing the mind. I guess I should probably start calling them activations instead of meditations, but it's focusing the mind in the same way that a meditation would, without you running the risk of falling asleep or just being bored and walking away from it. But whatever it is, stay connected to whichever method you use, I should say. Some people find yoga meditative, or even like boxing, something physical, that helps you clear the mind. But find some kind of practice to help you keep in touch with perspective for yourself in order to be able to help people with perspective as you live your path. Okay, this is what I have for you today, group one. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Hey, group two, and welcome to your reading. We are about to find out the right path for you, as well as get you some guidance on how to get on that path or stay on that path if you are someone who's already on it. So, alignment with your path. We're going to start by pulling 4 cards from the Unfolding Path Tarot using the concept of Ikigai. It's a Japanese concept that helps us determine how we can be most fulfilled while being of service to others. And that to me sounds like the ideal definition of a life path. So the first card that we're going to pull is going to tell us what you love. Let's see what comes up for that. Interesting. Oh, I love his face. So we have the 4 of Pentacles there. Ooh, yeah, y'all might be my ideal viewer for my channel. And now we're going to take a look at what you are good at. Another 4. This one is the 4 of Cups. Now we're taking a look at what the world needs. Interesting. The 3 of Swords. I almost said 3 of Hearts. Almost every time I pull the 3 of Cards, Lord, almost every time I pull the 3 of Swords, I say 3 of Hearts, and I almost did it again just now. And then finally, we are finding out what you can be paid for. And we have the Empress. Wow, okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, group 2. You guys, whether it's good or bad, you love material things. You love holding on to the things you own. Now, this a positive way in which this could show itself is that you acquire things of value and you take good care of what you have. Or even if you're not able to acquire things of value, you still are committed to taking good care of what you have. You also love having a sense of financial security. You're not one of those people that's very risky with your money, which is a good thing. This means that you will, all things working out in your life, be financially secure. And through financial security, that helps us feel stability and allows us to take care of ourselves and others. So you actually like thinking about your money. You like focusing on your money or what you feel that money can buy. So you might be someone who goes, wait, I don't think about money that often. But do you think about things that you would like to spend your money on? Just, wondering. Okay. Now, what you're good at is starting new things. With us having the 4 of Cups here, it could be that you have a tendency to start new things because of getting bored with the old things. But what you aren't is someone who gets stuck. What you aren't is someone who is just settling all the time, which is really, really very good. This enables you to get more out of life than a lot of people do, right? You're good at going, okay, I'm done with that. Let me move forward. Sometimes this might be out of just a sense of dissatisfaction, but sometimes it could be that you realize that you have developed enough in a certain area or with a certain thing, done enough in a certain situation, and it is time to move on. And this is good. Again, this is not something a lot of people, unfortunately, are great at. I mean, we see it all the time when people get stuck in the same job or stuck in the wrong relationship, stuck in a house they don't love. But you are very good at being able to go, I don't want that anymore, or I've done as much as I can with that. I am ready to move on to something else. The slight downside to that, and there is a slight downside to it with us getting 4 of Cups to indicate you being good at that, is that sometimes you may dismiss the blessing in front of you. You may not notice the blessing in the thing that you have decided you have enough of or have had enough of, okay? What the world needs healing. The world needs a sense of I'm okay, you're okay. The world is starting to get there, right? We're starting to see more and more people embrace themselves, embrace differences in others. We don't have such strict rules, at least in Western society. We don't have as strict rules as we had for so long about who people could or should be, what they have the right to do. You know, right now we seem to be shifting into a space of, let me say that better. We are definitely shifting into a space of people affirming themselves more or standing up for their rights more. But where we as a society need to be a little bit more careful is that we don't do it through harming others, right? There is a little bit of a leaning towards selfishness and not caring about the whole. We don't feel as connected as communities or society as humans historically have, particularly like tribal cultures where there was a thought of what is good for the whole. And so we're like going from one extreme to another. The extreme of have to put the whole group first, you know, that's not really great. And now this extreme of me, just me. And I don't care what it does to you. And I don't care what you want. And I don't care what you need. So the world does still need healing. It needs healing from traumas that we have gone through that have not been talked about, that have not been dealt with. And then what you can be paid for, so much. You can be paid for so much. I am getting here that you are someone of intense talents. Sorry, I meant to say immense talents, but those many talents may also be intense. You are extremely gifted in many, many, many ways. And for you, you can be paid for so many different skills that you have. I'm getting very strongly skills that are creative in nature. And that it's very important for you to connect anything that you do to an ability to have change, variables, possibly contracts that end so you can start new contracts. Work where you don't get stuck. This is so important. You not feeling stuck while at the same time having a sense of security, financial security, the ability to provide for yourself. You like lavish things. You like lushness. You are drawn to abundance and you are drawn to wealth. I feel that this is shown here with your Four of Pentacles and the holding on to material things, as well as with this Empress card, because the Empress card represents, yes, motherhood sometimes, yes, creativity sometimes, but also the abundance of the world, the abundance of nature, the abundance of life, just the word abundance. And so there's so many possibilities in the world. And there's so many possibilities of what you can do in the world. And you would probably do best working in some sort of an organization where you come in and make things better for others. Like you serve an important clientele, and you come in and you make things better for them. And then you move on to the next client, the next job. So ironically, this might look like being an efficiency manager for some of you, which you may not think of that as creative, but it is, because you have to come up with creative ways to make that business better. You know, for some of you, it could be working in environments where you come in and you teach a program, or you teach, like for instance, what's it called? It doesn't have to be this specific one, but you know, like when corporations bring somebody in to give a mandatory training, something like that. So that could be like, what's it called? Sexual harassment training. I don't know why my head just went to that one. Or, you know, handling diversity in the workplace. I'm definitely getting strong vibes around differences, variation, change, newness. Ushering companies, organizations, even some individuals into understanding the newness of the society that we're in now, the newness of what is possible for them. This could even extend to work with AI, or technology, but bringing new ideas to a scenario or to people. So if it's, if working for or with corporations does not align for you, if you want something that's more on a personal level, it can literally be creative work where you are somebody who maybe goes to different recreation centers or different camps, different after school programs, and you teach creative skills or you do creative performances or you help the teachers learn how to handle their classes in more creative ways. But there definitely needs to be constant change. That's not to say that you can only work with a person or an organization once. It's just that they can't be your only client or your only source of income. One of the things coming up too with this Four of Pentacles energy here is the benefit of having multiple clients, multiple customers, multiple sources of income through this diversification of your work. You may have many things that you offer to many people as a service or even as a product. But it definitely is something where you're constantly working with new people, constantly working with change, constantly coming up with new ideas, constantly being in new environments. And the world is wanting and needing more and more of this kind of programming in their workspaces as well as in educational spaces. Educational spaces have been good about this, having this for a long time, but workspaces are having to shift the way they function because of these changes we're seeing in society, because of the world healing and people just having different requirements of their workplaces and their employers than they ever had before. So, group 2, sit down and figure out which of your many talents and skills. I'm getting that a lot of you guys you're probably like me in that you have several right brain talents or talents that we attribute to the right brain. So those would be the more creative things, but also some left brain talents. And so those would be like organizational skills. And the synergy of these two make you a highly creative person, even though you may not always feel like the type that we tend to classify as creative. You have so many ways of thinking, or you have a very strong way of thinking outside of the box. So figure out, which of these talents and skills you most enjoy doing and determine how you can offer that to multiple clients, to multiple companies, to multiple customers. Ooh, clients, companies, and customers, they all start with a C. Without having to rely on any one. A big part of a sense of fulfillment for you is having many sources of income, many sources of fulfillment and inspiration, abundance in creativity, abundance in the activities of what you do. And because you have so many, there are so many ways in which, so basically it's definitely about ameliorating and helping situations, making situations or people's lives better through these creative skills that you have, these creative talents. For some of you, it could actually be being a therapist and being very creative in your approach to, I specifically got couples therapy. And maybe it's because of this 3 of Swords, which almost just got called 3 of Hearts again. But yes, so whether it's making the company better as an efficiency expert, or it's making the relationship better as a what's it called, couples therapist, relationship therapist, or it's making the after school experience better by bringing fun programs or performances to children. In whatever way it is, you make things better for others by the breadth of abilities that you have, the number of interests and abilities that you have. These may have felt for you in the past like a hindrance. You may have, excuse me, pardon. Sorry about that. You may have sometimes felt Oh, I'm getting use your voice, use your voice. Every time that happens in a reading, I feel that. Use your voice. So for some of you, it could be speaking engagements, going to many places with speaking engagements to inspire. But you may have historically felt that this was a hindrance, that you have so many interests, that you get bored fast, or that you excel at something and then need a new challenge. You are not happy to just do the same thing over and over and to just be like a drone, or to drone on in something is what I should say. Because otherwise it sounds like I'm calling people who can do the mundane drones, and I'm not. I'm simply saying that you are, not best suited for just doing the one thing forever. And you may have seen that before as a hindrance. But these days and at this time, and this message is saying to you, this is not a bad thing. You just have to figure out how to channel that where it's, for instance, if you went to a bakery, would you want a bakery to just have one pie or just have pie? No. And so embrace the fact that you have so many interests. See where they are similar to each other or can be packaged in, whether you choose to sell it or volunteer these skills of yours. Either way, figure out how you can present them to whom it is you set forth to help or to serve, so that there is connectedness in your many ways of doing things, your many sets of talents that will then lead to, if you choose to charge for it, many sources of income. Okay, so your guidance from heaven, we're getting that first from the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle. And your guidance from heaven comes from Kadesh, sexual wisdom. What? Interesting. So this might specifically be saying, this is probably not for all of you. I'm just going to put it out there. This is probably for specific people. The ones who, when I talked about a relationship therapist, maybe all of y'all felt that. Maybe all of you were like, yes, that is exactly it. Because with any kind of therapist, if you're any kind of therapist, whether it's relationship or not, you're going to have multiple clients. And there's going to be brand new challenges with every set of clients that you have. And there is steadiness of income there because there is such a need for it. There's such a need for healing, and people will pay for that healing. But with us getting sexual wisdom here with Kadesh, that might really be just confirming, relationship therapy, maybe even, someone being someone who helps people who have struggles specifically around their sexuality. This could be because of not feeling connected to their sexuality. And this Empress card here, when we think of her as being about motherhood, what has to happen before somebody can become a mother, a physical mother, that is. You can always adopt, but it's that lower half of the body. Sex is required for that, And so there might be something there for you around maybe even specifically helping women with their sexuality, or feeling comfortable with talking about their sexuality, being some sort of a therapist in that regard. And it doesn't have to be women, but that just felt right with us having Empress here. Reconstructing for people what it means for them, what sexuality means for them, particularly if they feel bound in any way or blocked in any way around that. Okay, next we're going to find out opportunities or challenges presented by the Earth. Yeah, very interesting. The energy is gaining momentum. You may have already been thinking a lot of what I have said here. You may have already been thinking that. And this might be confirmation for you. I'm getting for some of you, though, there is a message here around frustration. So the energy of frustration is gaining momentum. You are being highly encouraged to make a change from how you have been living or working prior to receiving these messages today because of like the frustration of the boredom that you feel through work that you do is starting to make you feel frustration with yourself. And this can lead to some destructive tendencies. So the message here would be, be aware of what energy seems to be swelling around you and find how you can begin to alleviate the pressure that energy is creating. So that may be as simple as, first of all, just listening to this reading today may be relieving some of that pressure for you. Or it could be about taking the first step. You may know exactly what that first step would be. If you do not, let me give you one. Okay? The first step would be for you to take a skills test. And there are lots of free skills tests. Oh, even better. Do a quick human design quiz. There are several free ones. Just Google human design quiz or what is my human design in Google. Put that in Google. And you will find out some ideas of ways in which you can start using the fact that you are multi-talented, multifaceted, multi-interested. Okay, so research is your first step, and it's research around you and your skills. If you already know what specific skills you feel strongest at and want to share with others, for some of you, it is the fostering of ideas at all. For some of you, it is like being a creativity teacher. Why did that not come up earlier? I hope you're still listening, because somebody might have needed to hear that and missed it because it just came to me. But actually being a creativity teacher, a creativity coach, this again is something that you can market directly to companies because they want to foster creativity in their employees and particularly their managers. Or it can be something that you specifically market to individuals, or, hear me out, both. So that again, you have these multiple streams of income. But getting in touch with what the skills are, I would say see if you can narrow it down to 3 to make your primary offerings to people, whether you choose to charge for it or you choose to give them in service to in a volunteer situation. Either one of those, you can still take these same steps, okay? Yes, creativity, helping people with creativity. And this will definitely help with the brokenheartedness of the world because people need to feel fulfillment. And you are very aware of what it feels like to be unfulfilled despite doing all the things. But yeah, see where the energy is gaining momentum and go ahead and start alleviating some of that pressure. Okay? Make a change towards that which is causing you this frustration or to bubble up. Okay, and now finally we are getting your inner self, messages from your inner self. Direction. Yeah. You have probably felt many times over in your life as though you had no clear direction. And it is strictly because of having so many abilities and not being in a society or coming from a home where people knew what to do with someone like you. They may have called you a flake. They may have called you restless. They may have just been outright dismissive and not called you anything. They may say things to you like you can't stick with anything. And it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because you're fucking brilliant. You're brilliant and you are super talented in many ways. And most people don't understand that. And if you haven't had someone to model for you how to live as somebody with all these talents, then it can come off as though you're a flake, you know? Or if you haven't had someone to, help you plot out ways in which you can use these many talents. One of the great things about being a business owner is, if you choose to go that route, is you do get to use all these different sides of yourself. See, typically when we get hired by somebody else, they hire us for one particular skill or set of skills. And then there's other things that we're good at or interested in that don't get attention. And that's part of what makes us end up feeling unfulfilled. But when you work for yourself, particularly in the beginning, everything falls on you. And then you get to use both sides of that brain and all of your various skills, the creative ones as well as the organizational ones. But it is time for you to choose your direction. And you see here with this compass, of course, it shows north, east, south, and west. When we travel, when we move, when we do things, we don't just go in one direction. We have a main destination that we're trying to get to, but sometimes you take a left and then sometimes you go straight and then sometimes you take a right and sometimes you might have to do a U-turn or whatever. So all of the directions get hit. And I say that to say, don't put the pressure on yourself to just do one thing. You do not have to pick one thing. You don't, group 2, you don't. Your direction is encompassing, see what I did there? Compass, encompassing all of the directions. And that's because you can do all of the things. Now, can you literally do all the things? No, nobody can. But many things. And there is a need for you because other people also have this going on and they don't have anybody telling them that it's okay. And you can come in to whatever environment they're in or wherever you happen to meet them and give them the same message. But your direction is choosing your own direction, not being dictated by anybody's words around you, not being dictated by, I like it, now I'm bored, I like it, now I'm bored. But just knowing you get to pick, you get to determine, you get to decide, and it is time for you to decide. I do think that's part of us getting this card. It is time for you to decide how do you want to utilize and utilize the skills and talents that you have and the interests that you have and manifest or create something for yourself that you can help others with through the ones that you choose. You are the director, so you get to pick the direction. All right? Okay, this is what I have for you today, Group 2. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Hi there, Group 3, and welcome to your reading. So we are going to discover for you the right path, and we are going to find out how you can align with it. Or, if you happen to already be on it, stay aligned with it. Now, to begin, we're going to pull 4 tarot cards. One for each of the elements of Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that helps us determine what our life purpose or our life path could be. I almost said should be. I have a habit of talking in absolutes, but could be, because of course you always have free will. But these are ways in which you could bring fulfillment to yourself while also serving others. So the first card that we're using the Unfolding Path Tarot by Athena Noctua. The first card that we're getting is going to let us know what you love. Ooh, justice. If my mama is watching this right now, I know she picked this pile. Ooh, this lady. She acts like every injustice in the world is hers to fight, and every justice in the world is what she wants. Okay, so next we're going to find out what you're good at. We have the Death card. Oh, that's 2 major arcana. Very interesting. I do not feel like that can be ignored. So I'm glad I noticed it before we went any further. Okay, what the world needs is the next card that we're pulling. The 3 of Cups. I love that. This makes me think of what the world needs now is love, sweet love. I should have started that a lot lower. A lot lower. So I'm sorry if that hurt your ears. But anyway, yeah, this card really, like as I pulled it, really made me think of that song. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. Ooh. Okay. I'm getting some stuff here, Group 3. And then finally, we are seeing what you can be paid for. That's what our next card is showing us. Interesting. So I'm pretty sure that, sorry, I should say it out loud. The Queen of Cups. I am pretty sure that Several of the regular watchers of my channel are tarot readers. In fact, I know off of the top of my head 3 that I am friends with. So if you are a tarot reader, or you just feel like you're a highly intuitive person, or you are psychic, do spiritual work at all, this is definitely your pile. Okay, that is quite clear here with these cards. So starting with what you love. I was kind of joking about my mama, but kind of not. Actually, not. You love justice. All right. You love justice. You love fairness. You actually love the law. You love rules. You may be one of those people who enjoys knowing what is expected of you, knowing what is expected of others. For some of you, there could be a control element in that. All right. A need for safety, making you want to have a sense of things being under control. You love balance. Yeah, order. The goddess Ma'at may be a deity that you feel connected to or you relate with because of her 42 ideals. The 42 ideals of Ma'at are the source from which the 10 commandments of the Judeo-Christian Bible came from, or I guess Judaism, 10 commandments of Judaism came from. And they are 42, y'all, 42 ideals from an Egyptian goddess that speak to balance, truth, cosmic order, justice. You love all of these things. All of these things. You don't hesitate to feel, let me say that better. When you feel called to, you don't hesitate to stand up against injustice. Okay, what you are good at, resurrecting. Nothing can keep you down. You have a greater sense of the world turning than most. Let me say that better. The Wheel of Fortune, when we talk about it in tarot, how it's about the fact that life is ever changing. Things go up and they go down. Things go forward. Sometimes they take a few steps back. Nothing stays the same forever. And most things are out of our control. You ride that wave with more ease than most. I'm not saying that it is completely easy for you. I'm not saying that it never presents challenges for you. But you don't stay knocked down from those challenges. And you certainly aren't blocked by the changes of life. You don't feel defeated for long, if you ever feel defeated at all. I'm feeling like with the combination of this Justice card and this Death card, you typically don't feel defeated. But again, if it is, it's probably like a temporary thing, like it's your week of PMS. And so you're processing differently than you normally would, that kind of thing. But yeah, you are very good at picking yourself up after a loss or unexpected change. And not just moving forward or moving on, but as a better version of yourself, or doing things in a better way than you had previously. You are very good in improving through resurrection. What the world needs: community. The concept of village. Remember when, I almost said Whitney Houston. That's not who I meant. Hillary Clinton, very different person. But both of them were idols of mine for the longest time. Whitney still is, even though she is no longer with us. And Hillary still is, even though she's no longer politically active. But she introduced to Americans the phrase, "it takes a village," if I'm not mistaken, during the, I want to say the 96 election. Maybe 92, but I think it was 96. And the world needs more of that mindset. That is a very tribal mindset that comes from what we typically consider to be underdeveloped nations or continents. It is actually a saying, I believe, from a part of Africa. Don't ask me which. If I knew, I would have said it. I don't know. But knowing that we are supported without feeling any guilt or shame around that support, not hesitating to ask for or receive help, being willing to be of help to others, not just from a place of largesse or, service to others from like a top down perspective. I have so much I need to give to the less fortunate. No, 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 not that. But like, you are my sister. I am your sister. You are my brother. I am your brother. Or even just, we are friends. Let me be there for you. We are friends. Your ass better be there for me. Do you know what I'm saying? So, this concept of togetherness in life, togetherness through life, and the enjoyment of that interconnectedness, that enjoyment of that closeness, not having any guilt or shame attached to it or any fear around it. Because sometimes some people don't like to be supported by others or get help from others because they feel like that now means that they owe the other person something. I would venture to say you don't owe the other person something, but you should, there I am with my shoulds again, you should be willing to help someone else in need when they need it. If it is in your ability to do that. So yeah, this sense of community, a community of equals, a loving community is what the world needs. And then the last card that we have represents what you can be paid for. And I'm just going to say it outright because I already alluded to it earlier. Your psychic services, your psychic gifts, your spiritual gifts, your intuitive gifts, even, for some of you, even your romantic gifts. Now, I'm not saying go out there and be a prostitute. That's not what I'm saying. Though, hey, if that's what you want to do you, boo-boo. I am not here to judge. But what I mean by that is maybe you have a desire to write romance novels or create romantic poetry. Now, I don't know if it's very easy to get paid for writing romantic poetry. It's not very easy to get paid to write romance novels either, but you can be. In both of those cases, you can be paid for it. Depending on if you get picked up by a publisher or if you position yourself right in other ways, like perhaps, and I might be getting a little bit ahead of the reading here, but like perhaps creating programs for recreation, programs like after school programs or enrichment programs, adult education programs, anything like that, where you teach the skills of romantic poetry writing to others, or romance novel writing, or romance stories. Short stories would probably be the way to go, But for the majority of the people that pick this pile, I'm getting something more along the lines of the spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, intuitive gifts. But the romantic is also a possibility. And with that in mind, what you really are able to do, if you should choose to make this your path and what would feel aligned and as a right path for you, is possibly working with others to help them see their value to society, to help them discover their path, the right road for them, to help them make decisions. Definitely getting some decision making energy here with us having the Justice card as well as the Queen of Cups, because psychics and intuitives, life coaches, spiritual teachers, let me start with the first two. Psychics and intuitives can be great for predictions, divination, but also one of the reasons why we seek that out, when we seek that out, is because we're trying to make a decision, right? And because you've got such a strong sense of nothing in life defeats you until you die. Death is the thing that you don't physically recover from. But there's all kinds of belief systems out there about the fact that not even death can, keep us down. But because you have such a strong sense of the idea that all things are surmountable, that we can rise and rise better after a challenge, you are a perfect person to help people with decision making. So this could be, like I said, working as a psychic, working as a life coach, being a spiritual teacher, possibly being some kind of counselor. Listen, counselor energy came through a lot in these readings today. So some of you may have been drawn to multiple piles. But it also could be in being an advocate for others, like literally being a lawyer. What kind of a stellar flippin' lawyer would you be? Like amazing. If you have a sense of justice, fairness, balance, and also very strong intuitive gifts that help you see inside and outside of a situation, the strategies that you would come up with, the approaches that you could take. And this kind of law that you practice, should you choose to practice it, might specifically be around social justice issues, so that, is not just about the law, but also about society, the group, the whole. Or it could be law that is about contracts and partnerships, negotiating them ahead of time so that people don't feel taken advantage of, or dealing with arbitration around them if a partnership falls apart. And with your particular set of skills, being able to help people through that in a way that they don't lose respect for themselves or that other person, and possibly are even able to keep the relationship or the friendship intact. But I'm definitely getting advocacy energy here. You could also be, if you don't feel drawn to the law, you could be some sort of an advocate in a social worker perspective, whether it is, what's it called? There's a word for it. Family services, or even services for individuals. Advocacy for children when they need representation because of, having to be separated from their parents. But an advocate for others is very much what I'm getting. And it begins with being an advocate to the client. So not just an advocate for the client, opposing something or someone else, right, where you're representing them, but also an advocate to the client themselves as you help them see their way through this change. Help them continue to keep connections that matter to them despite this change. Give them insight about themselves as they navigate this change. Okay? So yeah, I'm definitely getting strong advocate vibes, whether it's as a lawyer or some kind of social advocate. I don't know what the exact word for that would be, because I don't feel like counselor is exactly right. But, possibly some social work, possibly, child services, something like that. Something that helps people. And then immigration, helping people that are struggling with issues around immigration or citizenship, becoming a part of the community. Yes, y'all, advocacy, 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 for sure. Yes, the insights that you can bring with this Queen of Cups energy. Insights about the system, insights about the individuals involved, and most importantly, insights about the client. Okay, so now we are going to choose a card from Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle to, I said that weird, sorry. The Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle. We're going to get your guidance from heaven with this. Inner strength, Rhiannon. Inner strength. Now, if I recall Rhiannon's story correctly, she lost a child. And after losing that child, she had to pick herself up and carry on. And there was something about her riding a white horse that was significant to the story. She is Celtic. Her origin, the story, is from the Celtic tradition. But whether I got that right or not, and I am grabbing the guidebook so I can double check that, inner strength speaks to what we had here with this death card. So there's definitely something in your path around helping others tap into their inner strength as they go through navigating a justice system or any injustice or arbitration that they are dealing with. It's your approach. That would be your approach that would be different from other advocates out there or other, workers or social workers or assistant workers, I don't know how to say that, out there, is the focus on the inner strength. Not feeling as though the system is so big and or the end all be all, but letting them see what power they bring to the situation and how to tap into that power to get through what they're experiencing and then also move on beyond it afterwards. A guide. You are a guide. You are a guide. You are a guide. You are a guide. Doesn't she feel like a guide? Even though I don't, that wasn't part of Rihanna's story, is her being a guide. But this depiction of her here, which is very different than the one in one of my other goddess decks, definitely feels like a guide. But this inner strength is what you have, which is what keeps you from being knocked down by things ending or dying, even if they do so in dramatic or traumatic ways. I'm hearing that song, nobody gonna hold us down. Nobody gonna hold us down. Okay, I know I sang that terribly because I can't figure out which version I want to sing. And so my head is like in two different keys. But in my heart, I was attempting to give you the Christina Aguilera one. And also, I must apologize to you, Group 3. You are the only group I felt compelled to sing to today. I've sung to you twice, you poor things. Okay, so let's grab the from the guidebook, see what it says here about Rhiannon. But inner strength. Relying on your inner strength and then helping others who you work with to discover and rely on their inner strength is a big part of aligning you with this path, and keeping you on the path. Because if you're constantly dealing with things that have to do with social justice or the justice system or legal system at all, or just anything where there is negotiations or contracts or battles of any sort, you're going to have to recuperate from those. You're going to have to, and part of having inner strength is recuperating after, an ordeal or after a battle. Okay, so it says inner strength, Rhiannon, inner strength, don't give up now, you can do this. And I have a note here that I wrote in the margins, use what's happening to your benefit. And needing help doesn't mean you're not strong. See, didn't we just talk about that with this 3 of Cups? And maybe that'll be a big message to the people that you work with, helping them to know that strong doesn't mean you have to do it all by yourself. And again, one of the ways that we can maintain our inner strength is letting others be there for us so that we keep some in reserve. Okay, so it says here, Rhiannon is a Welsh lady of the other world whose name means great queen. She features in medieval manuscripts called, I don't know how to say that word, the something Celtic. It starts with an M. It says Rhiannon twice avoided arranged marriages and was falsely accused, of murdering her own baby. That's right. I did get it right. She did lose a child, but it was that she was falsely accused of murdering that baby. And then, but she refused to blame those who wronged her. She instead rose above adversity by taking command of her female power. Always talking about that female power. That female power is everything. And it's all over your reading here. So it could be that you are specifically to be an advocate for women. And it just hit me, a big one that I can't believe I forgot. Victims of domestic abuse or any other traumas or dramas against women. I didn't even need to say or dramas, traumas against women. Unfortunately, too often women are victimized in societies. For some of y'all, this work might actually be with people in other countries because the systems of those countries keep them institutionally disadvantaged. Yes, you are called to work with women. Y'all, even in this death card, it's a woman. You see that? And this is not an all-female deck. I don't know how I missed that. I guess I'm just so used to pulling goddess cards. I'm just so used to seeing women all the time. It didn't strike me as a message, but I do feel like there is a message here. The work is to be done with women, helping women in issues surrounding justice for them, whether it's women as a collective, as a whole, or individual clients that you are working with. Okay, getting back to Rihanna here. Look at this, y'all. Okay, so getting back to her. It says, refusing to blame those who wronged her, she instead rose above adversity by taking command of her female power. Rihanna worked from within. Rihanna worked from within an unjust social structure to improve her circumstances, rather than trying to escape it entirely. A goddess of strength and sovereignty, Rhiannon encourages us to heal the inner victim. I just want to sit with that for a second. I cannot believe I forgot the women who are victimized. That's your call in Group 3. Working with women who are victimized, whether as an advocate or in some other capacity. For some of you, it might be volunteering at women's shelters. It might be helping to teach women skills to help them take care of themselves after having left a violent partner. I'm getting that for some, it won't even be about domestic violence, but helping women who have lost their husbands through death, or currently nursing their husbands through terminal illness or some kind of serious illness. I'm getting wives of servicemen who have PTSD. I'm getting service women who have PTSD. But it is for you to help bring not just justice, but rightness in living for women who have been disenfranchised or victimized or just are at a point in their lives right now where they need help. They could just have gone through a divorce and find themselves to be a single parent with, other mouths to feed and not enough of an ability, or feeling that they don't have enough of an ability to do it on their own. There's so many organizations out there that you can work with for that, to help bring a sense of fairness to their lives, a sense of balance to their lives. So it doesn't have to be the actual legal profession, though it can be. If you felt inspired by that when that came up, it can be that. It just doesn't have to be that. Helping women to find their own sense of sovereignty. And again, if you feel like you have psychic gifts, intuitive gifts, spiritual gifts, I'm getting that someone out there will be a leader of women, a women's spiritual movement, maybe even a women's spiritual organization, sort of like the high priestesses of the goddess temples of old. And I definitely get that vibe here with the way, again, Rhiannon is depicted. Let's say this wasn't a picture of the goddess herself, but of one of her devotees, I feel like if I had been watching this and not the reader here, I probably would have picked this pile. This would have been my pile. And then it says here, her many symbols include the moon, white mares, as in white female horses, moonstones, and white flowers. I almost want to stop your reading right there, but we're not going to, because we have 2 more things to find out. So next we're looking at opportunities or challenges presented by the earth, and for that we're using the Moonology deck. Opportunities or challenges presented by the earth for Group 2. What do we have here? Emotions are running high. So one of the challenges for you, which is also an opportunity. Okay. You see that of the minor arcana, we got 2 major arcana and we got 2 minor arcana. The 2 minor arcana cards that we got are in the realm of emotions. It's the Cups suit, right? And so that is, like I said, it's the realm of emotions. And because of the kind of work that you will probably be doing based on the guidance we're getting here, it will be emotional work. The opportunity is that your emotions will be engaged. You will feel connected to the work that you were doing. You will feel motivated because you're coming from a place of feeling, of love, of respect for these women that you're working with, or these people, even if you don't choose to go the strictly female route. Though I do feel very strongly that that's your calling here, group 3, working with women. So the opportunity is getting to feel emotionally connected to the work that you do. The challenge is that because of the nature of the work, what's at stake, what people have been through, emotions will run high. And it will be imperative for you to find ways to balance yourself so that you can keep going. Because what you have done in your own right regarding being able to resurrect from the hard or the ending of things, that requires inner strength that we can sometimes just muster up from ourselves. But when it becomes the work that you do for others, whether you volunteer and do it or you get paid to do it, it's many times over, and that can wear a body down. I'm saying a body as in somebody, but it literally can wear your body down as well as your mind, as well as your emotional self. So you will need to make sure to have practices in place to help you stay balanced, and you love balance. So don't forget to stay balanced and honor your love and need for balance once you start doing this work, or once you go further in it, for those of you who might already be doing it. Okay? Because the emotions running high will be the norm. So you will need to find times of quiet, times of peace, times of aloneness, something that Rhiannon actually did have. All right, and then our final message is coming from your inner self, and we're using the higher self oracle for that. On the right path. Yeah, I had a feeling several of you who got this, you already knew this, you were already doing this, and maybe you were drawn to these readings right now. The original reading from YouTube, which is signs that you're on the wrong path. And then this is the extended, which is, how to get on what the right path is and how to align with it. You may have been drawn to those because of this that we were just talking about, emotions running high. It may be taking a toll on you, the work that you're doing. And you may have forgotten to remember to balance yourself, to let others be support for you in the same way that you are support for others. Now, of course, it won't be the same people. The people who are your customers or your clients or that you volunteer to help, those are not the people that you can rely on to sow back into you or to replenish you or to support you. You're going to need to get that from others in a different environment, people who are your peers, your friends, your family members, maybe even colleagues in that work environment, okay? But not the people who are reliant on your help. I felt the need to say that just in case somebody lost sight of that, and maybe that's what's made it so emotionally difficult for you and made you go, I'm on the wrong path, I gotta do something different. We're seeing here that you're on the right path. You just need to recalibrate, and you need to have the habit of recalibrating. And then for those of you who aren't already working in this way, in some way, this message here of on the right path is saying, hey, see, listen to Sean. This is your right path. Do it. Find a way to do it and do it. I love this for you. Oh, and so since I did say that this was if I was picking, this would be my pile, I'm going to use this as confirmation for myself that I am on the right path. Because I love what I do, these things that I do with you and for you. I love pulling these cards and creating this content. And I especially love now having connected it to specifically, career creativity and calling. And so I accept this message that even I am on the right path. And you know what? I actually needed to hear that today. I'm one of you, group three. We are in this together. Okay, so this is what I have for you, group three. At least for today. There will be more. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my God, my heart is swelling and like I'm smiling so hard, my cheeks are fat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so very much for letting me connect with you and for being part of my life, a part of my community. This means the world to me. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you in my next one.